Many Christian denominations have different views about the year birth of Christ. Some said that year 2 was the time of Christ's birth, while other sects claimed that Christ was born in year 3. Their presentations were contradictory to one another, and above all, their claims were very contrary to the prophecy of Daniel that pertained to the year birth of Christ. This prophecy must be compared to the eventual movements of the world. It is stated as follows.
The vision. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand, that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem, unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the Prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate.
This is the prophecy that the Messiah or Christ in his own human divine flesh would be with the people when the 70 weeks of God are about to finish. 1 week has 7 days that should be counted as 7 years in accordance to what is written in Number chapter 14 verse 34, asserting that each day for a year or 1 day is equivalent to 1 year. So 70 weeks should be multiplied by 7. The answer is 490 years. These are the number of years in which Christ was born, doing his preaching and divine ministry, and until the time of his suffering under Pontius Pilate. The 70 weeks of God, or the 490 years, must be counted off from the time when Jerusalem was restored. The writers of the history of the world prove that Jerusalem was built in the year 457, after the city became desolate, when King Nebuchadnezzar took the Jews and brought them as captives to Babylon. The year 457 before Christ is the base or the starting point of counting the 490 years. This will let us determine the exact year of birth of Christ, the year when he began his divine works, the year when Christ's human flesh was crucified, and to let us know the specific year end of the 490 years. The real counting of the number of years in this world, according to the will of God, is by per millennium, or every 1,000 years. After counting the negative millennium, the positive millennium will follow. In other words, in a negative millennium, the 1,000 years are decreasingly counted off, while in a positive millennium, the 1,000 years are increasingly counted off. So, counting the number of years from 457 should be done in a decreasing manner because this year is in negative millennium. Then, it shall be followed by another positive millennium, 1,000 years. If we will count 490 years from 457 for Christ, the answer is 33, or simply 33 AD, which is already in positive millennium. The year 457 before Christ BC is in negative millennium 4, whereas the year 33 AD is in positive millennium 5. Since we are dealing with numbers from negative year to positive year, it is very much important to know and apply the rules of algebra so that we can accurately compute the years of God. Let me show to you the computation which is based in the given prophecy of Daniel. The 70 weeks are computed as 70 times 7 because in 1 week has 7 days, which is also equal to 7 years. So 70 times 7 equals 490 years, which is the 490 years is the given appointed time of God. The 7 weeks are computed as 7 times 7 equals 49 years, which is the number of years that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem. And for the Messiah, and the 62 weeks, or the 62 weeks, are computed as 62 times 7 because in every score has 20 years, so 3 score is 60 years, 3 score and 2 weeks, so 62 times 7 equals 434 years, which is the number of years for it to be built again. After counting the 62 weeks, or the 434 years, the Messiah shall be cut off. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, which is computed as 7 times 7. And in the midst of the week, which is equivalent to 3 years and 6 months, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. Now, we are looking for the year of birth of Christ. First, we will find out how many years left to finish the negative millennium before we cross to the positive millennium. The city of Jerusalem was restored in the year 457 before Christ, in which these are also the number of years to finish the negative millennium, and it shall be followed by the positive millennium. If we will subtract 49 years, which is the 7 weeks from 457, the answer is 408 years. This number of years will be subtracted from 434 years, which is the 62 weeks. The answer is 26, or 2680. In this positive 2680, after Jesus Christ was baptized by John the Baptist, he began his ministry. According to St. Luke, in his chapter 3, stating that Jesus was 30 years old when he began his divine works. So if we will subtract 30 from 26, the answer is -4. This is the exact year when Christ was born, which is also contemporary to the death of Herod, because according to reference which is taken from Encyclopedia Britannica, that Herod died in the year -4. Many preachers said that Christ was born on the 2nd day of October, year 2. If it was so, whose Herod would it be who mandated for the killing of the infants that was contemporarily to the birth of Christ, since Herod died in the year -4? It is very much necessary that the year of birth of Christ must be contemporary to the death of Herod. In 26 AD, Jesus Christ started his works, and it lasted for 3 years and a half, as the fulfillment of the prophecy of Daniel, that in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. So if we will count the 3 years and a half from the year 26 AD, the outcome is 29 AD and a half, the year when Jesus Christ was crucified to death. This is also the year when Christ left Jerusalem and ascended to heaven. So from this year, the apostles of Christ had resumed their works for another 3 years and a half in order to accomplish the 1 week or the 7 years that mentioned in the prophecy. So counting 7 years from 26 AD, the resulting years is 33 AD. This is the 490th year from the time when Jerusalem was restored in the year 457. How old was Jesus Christ crucified to death? In the year 29 and a half AD. How old was he?